Welcome to Katana Stock Takes, the podcast where we explore growth strategies, share expert tips, and provide practical advice for businesses managing physical inventory. Today, we are diving into the world of manufacturing. I'm thrilled to welcome Taago Kilter as our guest here today. Taago has been a product manager at Katana for over 5 years and brings over a decade of hands-on experience in manufacturing. Today, he's here to share his insights on common manufacturing challenges, recognizing when it's time to innovate, and steps to optimize your operations. So Taago, welcome to the show.
Hello from my side as well. Thank you, Laura.
So let's dive right in. Manufacturing is facing a lot of challenges today. What do you think are the most common issues in traditional manufacturing?
The most common issues in traditional manufacturing, I would say, is finding the sweet spot of efficiency and profitability, because these are mainly the key characteristics that you need in order to successfully run your business.
What about small-scale manufacturers versus large corporations? Do you see these challenges differ in any way?
Yes, definitely. Small companies have a little bit different challenges than larger corporations would have. I would say one of the key differentiators between these types of companies is that when a small company is more focused on the customers, on the market, whether they find the right customers to sell their product with right price point, then larger companies, they usually have established already a sizable customer base. They have longer contracts maybe, and their challenges usually are more in the finding that efficiency sweet spot, finding the ways how to be more and more profitable, how to navigate in the world of stiff competition. They face these kind of challenges more.
And what about your own experience? You have a background in manufacturing. Can you share any example from your experience, any challenges that you addressed or solved? How was it?
Yeah, we had actually the same size question was one of the challenges that we faced in my manufacturing career. And that happened when we were scaling. At one point, we realized that, yes, we do have the established market. We could sell our products with the right price point. And we just realized that we are not making enough profit from that market. And that disabled us to invest in our manufacturing. And what we, in essence, had to do is increase a little bit that efficiency point to get to the level where we found our company sustainable.
Now, recognizing when it's time to make changes on innovate can be tricky. How can a organization tell when it needs to adapt or innovate its processes?
When is the right time to start establishing more mature processes? I would bring here an example through scaling. This tends to be the most common pattern when you grow from a really small company to a larger and more mature company. Then you start to see different challenges. One of them is the complex communication you find yourself in. Your team is not that close by anymore. They are not so quick to reach, and also your production steps as accumulated tend to be more complex, and there are more of them. And that means that not every person know what they need to do anymore, and also you don't know when they face some kind of problems.
So you mentioned inefficient communication. What are some other common signs of challenges manufacturers should look out for?
Some other common signs that manufacturers should look out for, I would say first and foremost, is quality and efficiency. So in the efficiency side, you can definitely notice that you need to improve something when your delays are accumulating and your customers are not that satisfied anymore because they just don't get the products in time that they desire from you. And also your production quality may be inconsistent. And so the reliability of your finished product is something that your customers can't fully trust anymore. You may have the perfectly designed and amazing quality product, but if you are unable to produce the same result every single time, then there is a problem you need to mitigate.
So customer satisfaction delays are something that you can measure pretty easily. What are some other metrics that you would recommend that small and medium-sized businesses could track to make sure that their operations are healthy?
One thing that you should definitely be able to track at any given time is your finished product's profitability. If you are unable to say how much profit you make at any product at any given time, then I would say you also have a problem to solve.
Now, going back to your own personal experience in manufacturing, do you have any good examples where you recognized the need for a change, you made the change, and it created a big difference for the company?
Yes, I actually do have an example about needing that change and also making that change. So what we had in my previous career was a situation where our company grew and also the market changed quite drastically during the mid 2000s, where we realized that the lead time that we had to promise to our products started to decrease end price of the product, because the customers, they were not willing to pay for such a long time such a big amount of money. And what it caused us was the need to find this additional efficiency through our processes. And we realized that we can't make people work any faster because they were already hardworking people. We had to make them work smarter. And this is how we started to measure their process throughput, trying to find out where they actually wasted time, where they did not spend the time on value-adding activities. And these were things we started to measure to decrease that lead time, because once we had been able to provide our customers the products with much smaller amount of time, the customers were really willing to pay even more to us because of that.
So, once a manufacturer has recognized the need, identified their challenges, what are the next steps? How can they begin optimizing their operations?
Well, if you have identified that you really have that challenge with the optimization, then first thing I would usually suggest to do is to fully understand the process, how you make your product a reality. And first step there would be always the optimization of resource allocation, understanding the time each and every operation would take to complete your product. I would focus on each operation independently first, understanding what it costs to make that operation, what kind of materials are going into that operation, and what kind of resources you would use for that operation, and then summing up how much it all costs for you per one unit maybe, and also understanding the auxiliary things that are going into this operation, like electricity, water, and you name it, what other things can be there. When you have identified the resource allocation, then the next step in the process optimization I would take is mapping the steps, how they correlate with each other. So you may have some operations in your manufacturing that you can do any given time. Some operations are really dependent on each other. So in order to fully understand that, I would suggest just using a simple flowchart. Map them out there, see how they interact with each other, play around with them, put some of them in parallel manner, some of them make dependent to each other, so they are in specific sequential order. And when you have done that, then you can once again revisit that first step where you did your resource allocation. Maybe you want to redo something there because you find that it's not the most efficient way. And so you can repeat these steps several times and do it for each and every product you have.
So resource allocation, mapping out manufacturing steps, revisit. What about the shop floor teams who actually make the products? How can they contribute to drive optimization?
That's a really good point. The shop floor team that you have who are making these products a reality, one thing they can do for you is they can give you back much more time than you think you would have to focus on your own jobs. But just to achieve that, you need to empower the manufacturing team building your products. So you need to equip them with proper tools. And by tools, I don't mean screwdrivers and hammers. By tools, I mean they should have access to some form of digital manufacturing software that